शुरू से कर देना स्लाइड। So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Dr. Kawan from Pathology Department. So beta, we will continue the talk of breast. And yesterday we discussed about the carcinoma of the breast. So beta, today we will discuss about the prognostic and predictive factors in carcinoma of breast. So beta, you must know about the prognostic factors as well as the predictive factors. The prognostic factors are those factors which affects on the outcome of a disease. Okay, while the predictive factors are those factors which affects on a therapeutic intervention. Okay, so basically these are the list of the, this is the list of all these factors. It includes age, tumor size, site, tumor configuration, cytoarchitectural type, presence or absence of invasion, absence, extent of ductal carcinoma in situ associated with invasive carcinoma, grading of the tumor, axillary lymph node metastasis, local recurrence, involvement of sentinel lymph node, lymphatic invasion, skin invasion and nipple invasion, types of margin, perineural invasion, and hormonal factors. Because these all factors can affect on the prognosis of the carcinoma. As first of all, we will discuss about the, we will discuss now one by one, and first of all, we will discuss about the age. The woman with less than 50 years of age is showing a best prognosis as comparison to the woman with more than 50 years. More than 50 years is associated with a bad prognosis. But the woman less than 35 years have same as older patient. Very young age is also associated with the bad prognosis and high risk of recurrence with distant metastasis. Now the size, one of the strongest predictor of dissemination and the rate of relapse in node negative carcinoma of breast. Beta, size of the tumor is very, very important because as the size increases, the chances of metastasis increases. And the size is also play an important role in TNM staging. In T, the size of the tumor, T1, T2, T3, we divide into three categories. We divide into four categories, T1, T2, T3, and T4 according to the size of the tumor. T1 is when the size of the tumor is less than 2 centimeter. T2 is when the size is 2 to 5 centimeter. And T3 is whenever the size is more than 5 centimeter. And T4 is any size. Okay, so size also play an important role. Increase the size of the tumor, there is increased chances of metastasis. Now the cytoarchitectural type. There are certain, as yesterday we discussed, there are different types of invasive ductal carcinoma. So these different types shows different behavior, right? The favorable prognosis is associated with the tubular carcinoma, medullary carcinoma, cribriform carcinoma, pure mucinous carcinoma, papillary carcinoma, adenoid cystic carcinoma, and juvenile carcinoma. Whether these all types of invasive carcinoma shows favorable prognosis as comparison to sigmoid carcinoma, which shows bad prognosis and aggressive than the ductal carcinoma with different with little difference in survival rate include squamous cell carcinoma, metaplastic carcinoma, and carcinoma with neuroendocrine feature. Okay, so beta, I repeat again, today we are discussing about the prognostic and predictive factors of carcinoma of breast. Whether anyone can ask in your MCQs, enlist the prognostic factors of CA breast, then you enlist these factors in such a manner that age, tumor size, etc., etc. And if anyone can ask in your viva, you must know that as the age increases, the size of the tumor metastasis is increases, and there is bad prognosis, a bad prognosis. Now the size, as the size increases, there is also chances of metastasis, and size play an important role in their staging, in their TNM staging, in T1, T2, T3, and T4. This staging of T is based on the size of the tumor. T1 is less than 2, T2 is 2 to 5, T3 is more than 5, and T4 of any size. Cytoarchitectural type means a specific type of a carcinoma is associated with specific prognosis. Like some tumors, some types are associated with a favorable prognosis. Okay, like tubular, medullary, cribriform, pure mucinous, adenoid cystic, and juvenile type. While some are associated with bad prognosis, like signet ring cell carcinoma. Okay, now the other factors which affects on the prognosis include the presence or absence of invasiveness. Because single most important prognostic determinant in CA breast is invasion. Invasion is actually, as we know that in situ as well as in invasive carcinoma, there are atypical cells are present. ठीक है बेटा, in दोनों condition, in both condition, there are atypical cells are present. But in situ, these malignant cells are lined by a basement membrane. These cells are typically lined inside the basement membrane. While in invasive carcinoma, these malignant cells penetrate the myoepithelial layer and they invade into the stroma. Okay, so the in situ carcinoma is curable with mastectomy, while the tumor of ductal type that have both in situ and invasive carcinoma, invasive component, there is a relationship exists between the proportion of the invasive component and the probability of the nodal metastasis. So beta increase number of invasiveness, increased chance of metastasis. While in situ, there is less chance of metastasis. Amount of in situ component correlate with the incidence of multicentric. Beta, I also told you yesterday that DCIS in situ carcinoma, ductal carcinoma in situ is associated with multicentric. Means in one breast, the tumor is present at different location, multiple places. So if we found a one focus of DCIS at one place, there may be a chances of other focus of DCIS in the other location of the breast. Okay, so the amount of in situ component correlate with the incidence of multicentric and indirectly with the probability of occult invasion. Means if we find a focus of a DCIS, there may be a chance of invasion. Okay, so we have to take a multiple section to exclude the chances of invasion. So presence of an extensive intraductal component is a prognostic factor for local recurrence in the breast in patient treated with conservative surgery and radiation therapy when the status of excision is unknown. Okay, beta. So now the microscopic grade. Beta, the tumor of the breast can be grade on the base grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3. Okay, the tumor of the breast is graded into grade 1, 2, and 3, and these grade system is based on 3 features. One is glandular formation, other is nuclear pleomorphism, and third one is mitotic count. Okay, beta, anyone can ask what is the grading of breast carcinoma? Then you must reply in such a way that the breast carcinoma is graded on the basis of glandular formation, nuclear pleomorphism, mitotic counts. There are 3 grades, grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3. And we graded on the basis of tubules formation, nuclear pleomorphism, and mitotic count. And the higher the grade is associated with higher chances of metastasis. Okay, lower the grade, there is a good prognosis of a tumor. Okay, so this microscopic grading also play a role in a prognosis of a carcinoma. Okay, so higher grade, there is a distant metastasis and poor survival rate. Beta, we grade the tumor on the basis of Nottingham systems. Nottingham system is basically a modification of a Bloom-Richardson histological grading system. Okay, there is a combined nuclear grade, tubular formation, and mitotic count. Okay, and the glands formation are further divided score 1 when there are more glands. The glands are more than 70% of the tumor area. 2 score 2 when 10 to 75% of the tumor, and score 3 when less than 10% of the tumor form a glandular architecture and most of the gland in a solid sheet. Nuclear pleomorphism in a same manner, score 1, 2, and 3 on the basis of mild, moderate, and severe nuclear pleomorphism. Okay, and the mitotic counts are also divided into three, score 1, 2, and 3 on the basis of mitosis per high power field. So beta, overall the grade scores are added together and are assigned grade as grade 1 when it scores 3 to 5, grade 2 scores 6 to 7, and grade 3 scores 8 to 9. Okay beta. So beta, till now we also cover our one topic that if anyone can ask what is the grading system of breast carcinoma of breast, then you must reply in such a way that we grade the carcinoma of the breast on the basis of Nottingham system, which is modification of Bloom-Richardson histological system. Okay, and these grading system is actually a combined feature of nuclear grade, nuclear pleomorphism, and mitosis. Okay, and we grade into three grade 1, 2, and 3 on the basis of total scoring. Okay, grade 1 include whenever there is a score 3 to 5, grade 2 include whenever they score 6 to 7, and grade 3 is whenever they score 8 or 9. Okay, and this grading of the tumor is also play a role in the prognosis of the tumor. As the grade increases, as grade 3, there is a more chances of metastasis. Okay, and now we come on same topic, the prognosis of the CA breast. Beta, axillary lymph node metastasis does also play a role in the prognosis of a carcinoma of the breast. Most important prognostic indicator. Survival rate also depends on certain factors like level of axillary lymph nodes involvement. Beta, whenever the patient presented with CA breast along with axillary lymph node involvement, then we must know which level of axillary nodes involved, either level 1, level 2, or level 3. Absolute number of lymph nodes. How many lymph nodes involved? Because in TNM staging system, T is stand for tumor size, N is stand for beta number of lymph nodes. As the number of lymph node increases, the N1, N2, and 3 increases. Okay? Now, the amount of metastatic tumor, how much lymph node is involved. The presence or absence of extranodal spread, either the extranodal spread seen or not, means the capsule of the lymph node is breached by the metastatic cells or not, and the presence or absence of tumor cells in the efferent vessels. These all factors also play a role in the prognosis of the CA breast. Now, beta, sentinel lymph node. Because by definition, sentinel lymph node is a lymph node which involved first the sentinel lymph node procedure in breast cancer based on the concept that if the sentinel node is negative, the other nodes of that group will also be negative in nearly all instances. Whereas if it's positive, the chances that there will be additional metastasis in that nodal group is about 1/3. So better keeping in your mind that anyone can ask what is sentinel lymph node. Okay, the sentinel lymph node is actually a first lymph node which can be involved by the tumor. So if the sentinel node is negative, there is a less likely chances of positive of other lymph nodes. And meanwhile, if the sentinel lymph node is positive, then the chances that there will be additional metastasis in that nodal group can be seen. Okay. Now the types of margin. Tumor with pushing borders margin have a better prognosis than the tumor with infiltrating margin. Better reason behind that, when a tumor is showing a pushing border, so it pushed the soft tissue. So it only push the soft tissue, it not involve the soft tissue. While infiltrating in tumor margins, the tumor infiltrate the soft tissue. It also involves the soft tissue. Okay, so infiltrating margin having a bad prognosis. Now the tumor necrosis associated with the increased incidence of lymph node metastasis and decreased survival rate. Means tumor necrosis also play an important role in prognosis. When we find a necrotic fossa in a tumor, then it means that there is increased incidence of lymph node metastasis and decreased survival. Okay. So now the BRCA gene, uh, uh, as we discussed yesterday, that there are certain genes which we call the BRCA1, BRCA2, and these genes are associated with different carcinoma. These BRCA1 and BRCA2 is associated with the breast carcinoma, along with BRCA1 is also responsible for ovarian carcinoma, and BRCA2 is also responsible for other carcinoma, and it can also play a role in a male breast carcinoma. Okay, so these BRCA genes also play a role in a prognosis of a carcinoma of breast. So beta risk increases if there are multiple affected first degree relatives. Mutated BRCA1, risk of developing ovarian carcinoma. Mutated BRCA2, small risk for ovarian carcinoma, but it is associated more frequently with male breast cancer. BRCA1 and BRCA2 are also susceptible to colonic carcinoma, prostatic carcinoma, and pancreatic cancers. Okay. Now the BRCA1 is associated with breast cancers are poorly differentiated with pushing margin that do not express the hormone receptors or overexpress HER2/neu. Okay, beta. Those tumor which shows a BRCA1 mutation, they are associated with poorly differentiated types with pushing margins. Okay, and these are mostly the triple negative tumor. Now, beta hormone receptors also play a role in our prognosis as well as predictive role in a CA breast. As we know that there are different hormones like estrogen, progesterone, like HER2/neu. This estrogen stimulates the tumor proliferation beta through growth factors such as secondary messengers, PDGF, TGF, IGF. Okay, the estrogen antagonist result in inhibition of the production of autocrine stimulatory factors that impending the tumors. So hormonal receptors positive cancers have better prognosis than hormone negative cancer. Okay, so those tumor which shows positivity of ER means estrogen or positivity of PR progesterone. These hormone receptor positive cancers have better prognosis than hormone negative cancer. So IHC, immunohistochemical stains. Beta IHC is used to detect the estrogen receptor expression. Okay, beta, we use different immunohistochemical stain to see either the tumor responds the ER or not. Means either the tumor is ER positive or not. If the IHC is positive, it means it show a nuclear positivity of estrogen. So we called it the ER positive tumor. Positive tumors show distinct nuclear staining with antibodies against this receptor. HER2/neu, the overexpression of HER2/neu is associated with poor prognosis. So beta those tumor which shows positivity of HER2/neu, okay, and HER2/neu is cell membranous positivity. Those tumor who shows the positivity of HER2/neu is associated with poor prognosis. Okay, keep it in your mind that ER/PR positivity is associated with good prognosis. HER2/neu overexpression is associated with bad prognosis. ER/PR is nuclear positivity, while the HER2/neu positivity is cell membranous positivity. Beta Herceptin trastuzumab is a humanized monoclonal antibodies to HER2/neu developed to specifically target tumor cells. Herceptin or trastuzumab is a treatment of choice for the Herceptin-neu positive tumors. So beta, till now we complete our one topic, that is the prognosis and prediction or predictive factors of CA breast. Beta, if anyone can ask, enlist the factors which play a role in the prognosis of CA breast, then you must know there is a list of it, factors, And if anyone like age, like size, like configuration, like hormone receptors, like genes, etc., etc. Okay. And beta, if anyone asks about the in your Viva that what is the role of Beta-gene, then you must know. What is the role of axillary lymph node positivity? What is sentinel lymph node? Okay. What is the relation of size of the tumor with the prognosis? Then you must know. Okay. What is the what is the importance of margins? Okay. So beta, now we comes to our second topic, that is the male breast lesion. Okay, beta, mainly the male breast shows two main lesions. One is the gynecomastia and other is the carcinoma. Beta, the carcinoma as well as the other benign lesion like proliferative lesion without atypia, like proliferative lesion with atypia, and carcinoma of the breast of male is same as female. Okay, so the risk factor like age, like genetic genes, all the causes as well as the type of carcinoma, like invasive ductal carcinoma, different type, and morphology. These all are same in male breast as in female breast. Okay. So now the gynecomastia and the other lesion is gynecomastia. So beta, gynecomastia is the development of abnormally large mammary glands in male, resulting in breast enlargement. Gynecomastia is very common in boys going through a puberty, usually seen in a young male. In about half of the cases, enlargement is found in both breasts. In the other, it only affects the one breast. Gynecomastia can appear as a small lump that become tender as the muscles become large. Breast prominent due to excessive adipose tissue is often termed as pseudogynecomastia or sometimes lacomastia. Okay, but so the point you must keep it in your mind that gynecomastia is actually the breast enlargement in male. It's usually seen in a young male, and it is enlargement usually found in both breasts, and there is a small lump, and okay, and there maybe the pseudogynecomastia in which there is only a adipose tissue is seen. There is no breast duct or there is no breast tubule seen. So now, there are certain causes for the development of gynecomastia in a male. Beta, these causes means simply the major cause for the development of gynecomastia is increased estrogenic activity. Beta, as we know that the estrogen is responsible for the proliferation of the breast parenchyma. So whenever there is increased level of estrogen, then the breast undergo proliferative stage. And this function of estrogen is antagonized by the androgen hormone. Okay, so whenever there is increased level of estrogen or decreased level of androgen, so these two factors are mainly responsible for the development of the gynecomastia. So better this question can be asked in your OSPI when anyone can ask about the gynecomastia. So causes, what are the causes of gynecomastia? These causes include drugs, okay, and alcohol intake, steroid, okay, idiopathic. It can be include cirrhosis because beta, as we know that the liver is the main organ for which is responsible for the metabolism of estrogen. So if there is a cirrhotic liver is unable to metabolize the estrogen, and then in the body there is increased level of estrogen. Okay, beta. Then primary hypogonadism, testicular tumor may associated with the gynecomastia, especially the Leydig cell tumor, sex cord stromal tumor. Secondary hypogonadism, hyperthyroidism, and chronic renal insufficiency. Better you must know about all these causes. These causes can be asked. Okay, now the pathogenesis. The basic mechanism for the development of gynecomastia include decrease in androgen production along with an increase in estrogen production, an increased availability of estrogen precursor for peripheral conversion to estrogen. So beta, androgen receptor blockade and increased binding of androgen to sex hormone binding globulin. Estrogen-like or anti-androgenic effect of drug. Okay. These all causes cause the development of gynecomastia, enlargement of the breast tissue in a male. So, beta, grossly, the gynecomastia look like a soft, rubbery, firm, subareolar mass. Beta, there is a button-like subareolar growth, okay, small lump in a subareolar area. And grossly it shows a gray, white, ill-defined cut surface. And microscopically, beta, it shows a ductal epithelial hyperplasia with flat or papillary pattern. Means the duct and the epithelium is can epithelial hyperplasia over in a flat and papillary pattern. And there is an increased periductal stromal cellularity, edema formation, periductal edema, and there is fibrosis. Okay. Now this is the microscopic image of gynecomastia. Okay, if anyone give you this image on uroscopy with a young male present with enlargement of the uh, breast, and the microscopic image show this finding. These include here. These are the ducts beta, and these ducts shows epithelial hyperplasia. These are lined by double more than more than two cellular epithelium, and there is periductal edema. As you can appreciate it that this one is the blue edematous or loose stroma around the periducts, and these are and the fibrotic was a fibrosis throughout the stroma. Okay. So, beta, the normally small amount of male breast tissue consists of just a few ducts without lobules in a fibrous stroma. With gynecomastia, this tissue is increased and there can be a ductal epithelial aplasia, a prominent periductal edema as seen here. Gynecomastia can be unilateral or bilateral. So, beta, one more topic is molecular classification. Beta, you must know a little bit about the molecular classification because it is also given in your big Robin. Beta, why we need to know about the molecular classification, why molecular subtypes need to be characterized, how is molecular characterization done, what is the molecular classification, on prognostic relevance of molecular classification. Because these questions anyone can be asked. So, beta, the reason that why we need, because despite the surgery, cytotoxic chemotherapy, hormonal therapy, and radiation therapy, 30% of the patient will eventually experience a disease recurrence. So, the biological reasons for recurrence and resistance to treatments are poorly understood, predict changes or chances of relapse. And so, beta, as we already know and we discussed yesterday that the breast cancer is divided into two types, the in situ and the invasive. Okay, in situ is of two types, structural and lobular. As I already told you that lobular is said to be the lobular carcinoma in situ, LCIS. It is low histological grade. While the ductal type is said to, there are different types of ductal carcinoma in situ. There are different types of DCIS, include solid, papillary, micropapillary, cribriform, and comedotype. And beta, meanwhile, the invasive carcinoma is divided into different types. As I already told you yesterday, we discussed yesterday that there are different types like tubular carcinoma, like lobular carcinoma, like infiltrating vessel carcinoma, like mucinous, medullary. So, and these tumors is graded on the basis of nuclear polymorphism, gland formation, and mitotic rate. So, beta, is this enough in 21st century? Is this? But now, because nowadays, we classify the tumor also on the basis of their molecular classification. So, beta, anyone can ask what is the molecular classification? You must know about the WHO classification that tumor is divided into ductal and lobular. But if anyone can ask what is the molecular classification, then you must know. So, beta, breast cancers were divided into hormone receptor positive and negative tumors. Okay, we divide the molecular classification on the basis of hormone receptor positive and negative tumors. Up to half of all hormone receptor positive breast cancers do not respond to endocrine treatment at initial presentation, or there is inevitable development of resistance over time. They characterize variation in a gene expression in pattern. The tumors show great variation in their pattern of gene expression. So beta, the division of clusters of these cells are based on the existence of four molecular subtypes of breast cancer. Four molecular subtype of breast cancer. This include luminal type, normal breast-like, HER2-neu, and basal-like. So beta, if anyone can ask about the molecular classification of breast cancer, so you must know that the breast cancer can be classified according to molecular type, includes luminal B type, luminal A type, normal breast-like, HER2-neu, overexpressed type, basal-like, and claudin low. Okay, you at least must know about the names of this classification, okay, of this all these types, okay. So and these are classified on the basis of hormone receptors, hormone positive and negativity type. Beta, you can appreciate it that if anyone asks about you that in luminal A, beta, in luminal type, simple is that in luminal type there is positivity of ERPR. There is positivity of estrogen receptors along with progesterone receptors. Okay, IHC, immunohistochemically, the tumor shows positivity, nuclear positivity of ER, estrogen along with PR in luminal type. Okay, we divide luminal also in two groups, luminal A and luminal B. Okay, in luminal A, the tumors are ER-PR positive along with HER2 negative, and in A type there was low Ki 67 index. There is low proliferation of tumor cells and there is good prognosis. Okay, luminal A can the ERPR positive, Ki low, good prognosis. Luminal B also shows ERPR positive, HER2 negative, but there is high Ki 67 level. Okay, and then there is a HER2 overexpression type. In HER2 overexpression type, there is positivity of HER2. Okay, their HER2 is overexpressed. Okay, and in basal like there is negativity of all three, triple negative, ER, PR negative, as well as there is HER2 negative, absent of all three. Okay, beta, this is all about the carcinoma of the breast. Okay, so beta, in breast, we must know about the benign lesion as well as the malignant lesion. Beta, anyone can ask. I'm recording again and again. I'm repeating again and again that in breast, anyone can ask what is fibrocystic change. Okay, name the lesion including fibrocystic change. Okay, what is the stromal tumors? What are the names of the stromal tumors? Fibroadenoma and phylloides. Beta, what are the features of fibroadenoma? Circumscribed grayish white tumor with microscopically it shows a proliferation of a stromal and glandular component with intracanalicular and pericanalicular. If anyone can ask what is phylloides tumor, phylloides tumor may be the low-grade intermediate hybrid, and it is associated with leaf-like pattern and associated with the stromal overgrowth. Whether anyone can ask about what is risk factors for the carcinoma of breast, what is the classification of CA breast, what are the prognostic factors of CA breast, which we discussed today, what are the molecular classification of CA breast, okay, what are the types of ductal carcinoma in situ, okay, and beta anyone can ask about the enumerate the lesion including in proliferative lesion without atypia, proliferative lesion with atypia, okay, you must know about this. And this is all about the topic of breast. Okay, beta. If you have any query, then you can ask. आजे नहीं इनको देख लें किसी ने हैंड रेज अभी किए ठीक है ओके बेटा थैंक यू सो मच